All right, we ready?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Oh, we're rolling. Yeah, we're rolling hot. Welcome back, everybody, to Wilder Minds. We're back in a regular rhythm again. Get these things out and cranking at least for another couple of weeks until we head out for deer season.
We'll do some remotes.
Yeah.
We'll do some remotes during deer season.
Yeah, we'll do a lot of remotes from deer season. To get started, you had an interesting night last night.
It already is deer season.
It's deer season. You had an interesting night. I got the greatest FaceTime call ever last night, so walk us through it.
I'll be honest, I was not prepared.
Yeah.
I'm not that far down the line yet. I mean, it's today's the 8th, right?
October 8th.
Yeah, October 8th. I don't know.
It's dropped fatigue. It's the
the 7 days after where I'm trying to still get my toes to come back from frostbite.
Mine are dead still.
I didn't have the barn prepared. I had nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it, but yeah, Ryder got on the board last night.
Yeah, he did. Ryder goes out for a solo mission, comes back with a good one.
You guys got to hear this. The way this has been, I think 4 days now at my house, maybe 5 days. He's been hunting, and he's wanted to
home property, right?
Yeah, on the home farm.
At our
home
place.
property.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, we got like 35 acres here in Midland we live on. We got deer, and I mean usually it's Michigan style deer, and actually, what ended up happening is my neighbor off to the west took 40 acres out of crop and put it into warm season grasses, CRP.
Yeah.
And the deer numbers in the last 2 years have literally tripled.
Yeah, skyrocketed.
On my property.
Yeah,
it's
because you have the timber.
I have the timber.
Yeah.
And then, so I've got the timber, and then there's an 80 acre chunk. It's a 160. 80 acres to the north of it is CRP, 80 acres to the south is crop, and that splits my property.
Yep.
So I got both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a phenomenal setup, but it just goes to show you habitat improvement. And I mean, it's literally doubled or tripled the number of deer on my place.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome to just watch that and see how that goes. But yeah, Ryder's like gung ho. All right, Dad, I'm gonna hunt myself, and I'm gonna solo hunt. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like if you're gonna do it, do it. So just out of caution, and the kid's a really good hunter.
Yeah.
But just out of caution, I made him go the first sit with no weapon. I'm like, just go sit. It's the first hunt of the year. Like, just go sit, go through the motions, like just see what it's all about. So he did that one day. He went back with nothing. He just sat.
Yeah, so fish with no bow or hunt with no bow,
Yeah.
catch a fish and throw it back.
Throw it back.
I mean, that's like
Enjoy
the
nature.
Casey Keefer mentality.
Yeah, that is.
Well,
Just
I
make
go
a
whole
sit.
lot of
I just in case you see a 180.
What I was worried
Throw a
about
stone
is you
at him.
go out in the first sit and you're just like, first of all, I'm a mess on the first sit. I don't know about you guys. But I get in a tree.
Discombobulated. Pockets are wrong.
You're talking to
Forgot
me.
my release.
Shit's everywhere.
You know how much
like,
shit I drop out of the tree. It's a and especially if it's a morning sit. I hate it. I won't do it. I'll do an afternoon sit. I can't do a morning sit.
You need a rehearsal.
Yeah, you do.
I
You need a
have gone
rehearsal.
as far as I knock an arrow and I look at the arrow and I'm like, that's a field point.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like
It's a disaster.
Yeah, shit goes wrong.
Yeah.
So I wanted to avoid the first sit blues with the boy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just go and just sit in the woods. And he's like, cool, sounds great. So he goes back and he actually took his crossbow, but he didn't take a bolt.
Yeah.
He just took the crossbow.
Yeah.
And so I said, if deer come out, like practice like what you would do and how you would get on them. Because, you know, in my mind as a dad, I'm thinking all the shit that could happen.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's in a blind, he's by himself, you know, hit the window. Like stuff like that is in my head. And I'm like, you got to take all that stuff into account. And he's done all of this with me for a long time. But this is the first time he's ever doing it all by himself. So he went and he had he saw like 15 deer. He saw one spike, I think, or a forkhorn or something.
Yeah.
But just had the time of his life. He's like, oh my God, it was so incredible, it was so awesome. So much so that the next morning at 6 a.m. he was up by himself and went.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, he got the bug. Like he's got it bad. So he went and did the whole thing over again on a morning sit all by himself. So then fast forward, he didn't hunt, I think, for a day. And then he goes back out, but I wasn't home. Lisa and I went to see red clay strays.
Yeah.
And so once again, I was like, do not shoot anything because I'm not home. I'm not going to be home till like 1 o'clock in the morning. It's hot. It's 90 degrees. If you shoot a deer, it's going to spoil all the jazz. So I sent him back there again. And he had 9 does and 5 bucks in front of him. And he couldn't shoot. And so he was a little bothered by that one.
Yeah.
He's like, Dad, he's like, I got it. Like, I'm telling you, I got it. I'm like, all right, cool. So skip ahead to yesterday.
Yeah.
He texts me on our way home from our meeting, and he's like, I know you're not home. Can I please go hunting?
Yeah. And we were in Detroit.
Yeah.
We had meetings in Detroit, but
Yep.
we got back at like 5.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm like, I said, go ahead. You can go.
And he's sitting in a grizzly out of the shoot. Is he
blind.
hunting in the blind?
Yeah, he's in
grizzly.
blind.
So I said, I'm like, all right, cool. I said, I said, take 1 bolt. And he's like, all right, deal. So he took one bolt with him. So he goes back there. I get home. You drop me off. I literally went into my house. I grabbed a quick bite to eat. I went over. I sat down on the couch. I turned the TV on. Lisa's like, opening night, NHL.
Yeah.
Here we go. We got Marchand and Florida are playing. We'll watch that. Penguins are playing Rangers and Braden. We'll watch that. I mean, this is going to be great. My phone rings, and I look down, and you guys know how that goes.
Yeah.
I see Ryder.
You're like, uh-oh.
And it's
First
plenty
thing.
of daylight.
Yeah.
I'm like, I literally looked at my phone. I turned and I looked at Lisa. She was sitting on the couch next to me. I said, Ryder just shot a buck. And she's like, what? How do you know that? And I said, because there's no other reason he would be calling me right now.
Yeah.
So I answer the phone. I'm like, hello? And he's like, I can hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, I just smoked one. Smoked him. I smoked him. I smoked him. Like he's just on repeat, you know? And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. So I'm listening to him, and he's giving me the whole story and how everything played out. And to make a real long story short, this buck comes. He hadn't had anything all night, and so he took a little lunch pail, like lunch box, with him in the blind. So he stands up to go over and grab it, and he looks out the window as he's bending down, and there's a buck standing at like 15 yards.
Yeah.
He didn't do a pre-check. He just kind of got up. You
Yeah.
know? And he's like, oh, so then I start panicking. He's like, I got to put the lunch kit down, and I go and I sit back in my chair, and then I got to get my bow up, and I get my phone, and I turn my phone on me. He's like, so I could film the whole thing. He's like, and I look, and he's standing right there broadside, and he's like, I just smoked him. And he goes, and I'm watching him, and he runs over there, and I see him go down, and I look to my left, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a bigger buck standing right there.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was a stud, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
But he only has 1 bolt.
We got 1 bolt.
Casey.
It gets better.
Give the
It
kid
gets-
multiple bolts.
Just wait. It gets better.
See, I didn't want you to tell me the story until it was live.
No. So he shoots his buck, and his buck is a good buck. It's a 4-year-old 8-point, like
Yeah.
Michigan 4-year-old 8-point.
Yeah, it's a great buck.
Deer runs over, piles up, and he's like celebrating. And the best, and I'm going to put this on my social, is he's got him talking to his phone.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I just smoked him. And you see his face, and he goes, oh my God, there's a bigger buck right there. And like, it's real time when he sees it.
Yeah.
And so he just clams up, and he's like, there's nothing I can do. And this deer I have on video at our pond.
Yeah.
And he's a toad.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah.
He's a Michigan. He's like 135-inch, 140-inch Michigan deer. He's
10.
awesome.
He's a 10.
No, this is the 8. This is the big 8. So the big 8 stands at 15 yards, and I'm on the phone with Ryder, and he's like, Dad, he's right in front of me. He's at 15 yards. He goes, do you think I could sneak down and get my bolt out of the ground? I'm like, no. I'm like, do not move. And so we're going back and forth. I'm talking, he's whispering, and then I start whispering because,
Yeah.
you're on the
Oh,
phone.
Oh, yeah. You got to whisper. You got to whisper back.
Yeah, you feel like the deer can hear you on the other end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm whispering. Lisa's looking at me like, what are you doing?
What is going
It's like,
on?
you will not do that. You will
Yeah.
do this. And we're,
Painting was a gift, Todd. Painting was a gift.
We're going back and forth, and he's like, all right. He's like, okay. He's like, the big deer, he's like, he's walking away now. I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, he's headed to the west. And he's like, oh, okay, now he's going to the north. Oh my God. I go, what? And he goes, there's a giant 10-point standing at 15 yards.
Oh, my Lord.
I said,
are you kidding me?
I said, what? And he's like, oh, there's a 10, and he is thick. He's like, he's heavy, and he is bigger than the 8, and he's at 15 yards. I'm like, first of all, where are you?
Are you in Ohio?
Yeah. Where did you
Where
go?
the hell are you right now? And he's like, oh, Dad, this deer's awesome. He's like, oh, can I please go get my bolt? I'm like, no, like there's no way you're going to pull that off, you know? And we're going through, and he's like, why not? So I'm explaining like, dude, like A, your bolt's in the ground. B, the deer's at 15. C, you'd have to put a collar on the broadhead. Like I'm looking for everything I can give him as to why he can't go down there. but he had he could have been tagged out entirely.
And you could have killed him.
Entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, and so you have to imagine, so this plays out for 45 minutes to an hour because that's how long it took to get dark. And I'm on the phone with him the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's like, what should I do? And I'm like,
So that's how your phone died.
yeah, it's why my phone died.
Yeah.
I'm like, just don't do anything. Just sit tight. I'll come back there. I said, what I don't want to do, I don't want to blow those $2 out of there. Like, we'll wait for it to get dark. If I have to start the tracker, I'll bring the tracker back the trail a little bit to kind of spook them off. So just don't wreck it because they're still here.
Yeah.
You know, they're still around. So, I mean, it was just to hear him and the excitement and the, like, when I got back there, I don't think, and when I dropped him off at school this morning, I think he slept with a smile on his face.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
Because he had just such an unbelievable hunt. Finally, the deer made their way off. They went out into the corn, standing corn. So I got back there and walked through the whole thing. We got to the bolt, you know, and he's like, I saw him pile up, but, you know, we'll see if we can find some blood. And we walked over and
Yeah, I smoked him.
you guys saw if you guys saw the blood.
Jeez, yeah, it was unreal.
Wowzer. There's no mistaking that one.
Yeah.
You know.
The look on his face, I got a FaceTime from him when he got back to the garage, and he FaceTimed me. And same thing, I saw the FaceTime.
Yeah.
And I was on the couch, was laying there with Katie watching a movie, and I go, oh, Ryder killed. I jumped up and kind of went in the kitchen and got to the light where I could see him or whatever. Yeah. And as soon as I hit the button, he goes, so that happened. And he's just like, he's staring at me, he goes, that happened. And I go, what? And he just starts, his mouth was moving 100 miles an hour from like trying to tell me the story. Then there was a 10-point. And he kept going, you know, my buck's good too. I mean, it's a good buck, but let me tell you about this 10-point. And then he turns the camera. He had a picture of him, and he turned the camera around. And he put it up to the thing, and I go, dude. I go, where are you hunting? He's like, right. He's like, it was. He said it was the most unbelievable thing, and I'm like, dude, I can't believe it. I go, the good news is this. Multiple tags in Michigan.
Yeah.
I go, now you have a target, and I go, you've got it out of your system. So now you are like, you've got a target buck. And he's like, oh, I'll be right back there. I will be there, and I will get that buck. So, and he will.
Awesome.
He'll put in the hours to get it. He will.
Well, here's what I told him. He said, he's like, I can't wait to get back here tomorrow night. This was last night when we were skinning and cutting the deer up. He goes, I can't wait to get back in there tomorrow. I said, oh no. He looked at me. I said, back of the line, guy. He goes, what? I said, back of the line now, buddy. And he goes, why? I said, Gunner's ready to rock. Oh. So Gunner comes to me and goes, Dad. I go, what? He goes, I got to shoot that 10-point.
Oh, my
so now I got the, you know, got a little warring factions going on. Oh. So he's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, we'll see. I said, we're going to give Gunner a crack and see what happens. Oh. He's like, I'd be really happy for him, but I'd also be really mad. Yeah,
I'd also be very distraught about that.
I'm like, oh, I said, back of the line, kid.
That's funny, man. Like, you know how it is when you shoot a buck in any state. Over the years, it's like, oh, I'm on a heater now. Like, I got to go to the next state. I gotta it's happen. Like I'm. You feel it.
Yeah,
like
it's like pitching a good ball game.
Yeah,
that happens.
I got
to pitch next game.
That happened to me once in my career. Is the year that I sat 5 times and shot those 4 bucks or whatever. That year that I think it was AB shot Hambino. Yeah. The year of that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was Mr. November. That was, I sat with you. We killed Deadpool. Then I sat and then I killed. And then I left and went to Kansas. Yep. I was 4 sits into the season and I had there was 4 bucks on the ground. It was like boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, what is going on? And it was fun, but it was also annoying because I only had 4 sits. Like it's not even rut yet. I'm like, I want to enjoy the rut side of this. Like, but that has only happened once. And then the other side of it is nothing's going your way. And you're like, what?
Which is usually the case.
Yeah. It's like, what is happening? So yeah, that
I had one heater year where I killed that 163 in Iowa, and then 24 hours later killed.
You shot that 180
186 in Kansas. Yeah. That was like the greatest 48
and then
hours
strong arm.
And strong arm in Illinois.
After that. So I mean, that was a ripper.
But he is this dude. I like. So being with your kid when they kill their first deer is awesome. Yeah. It's incredible. But I look at it now through a whole different, like him doing it himself and doing it. Yeah. It's just, I was a mess yesterday. Lisa's looking at me. I'm like, you have no idea what this means. I'm like, now he gets to hunt by himself. He's not going to sit with me anymore. Like I was a gong show.
Rite of passage, man.
Yeah.
Rite of passage. Do you remember?
Then he says, real quick, we're sitting there, you know, and it's like that moment where it's like, everything calmed down. The deer was on the tracker. Like We're ready to go. We're going to get him to the barn and skin him and cut him up and do the whole thing. And he's just sitting there and he's like, Dad, he goes, the ice has my heart, but the woods has my soul. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
Come
like,
here, son.
absolutely- Yeah, I'm like, gosh, you know,
Come here, boy.
Yeah.
Come here, my baby boy.
Oh,
let me give you a hug.
Love you to death, kid. So,
Well,
it's a
you
whole
raised him
different,
right.
it's a whole different
Yeah.
phase. It really is.
Yeah.
It was cool.
No,
Very
it's
cool.
pretty amazing.
Wherever your adventure takes you, count on Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's to make it memorable. From the timberline to the campsites to the lake and the range, get your family outfitted with the right gear. With premium brands like Worldwide Sportsman, Ascend, Instinct, Redhead, and Natural Reflections, they've got the apparel and the gear to make it the best adventure ever. Stop by today for a one-of-a-kind shopping experience in-store or online at BassPro.com and Cabela's.com. See for yourself at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's stores. Your adventure starts here. All right, let's talk about beer for a second. You ever notice there's a big difference between Busch Light drinkers and other beer drinkers? I like to say we live on the wild side. You know, a guy with a Busch Light in his hand, he's a man of the people. He's out there in the wild every day. He's in the trenches smashing bushies with a smile on his face. You know why? Because he doesn't care. He's not looking for a soulmate. He just needs something to wash that damn jerky down. And he's got himself a 12-pack of Freedom in a can. And when that can gets cracked, it's like opening a door to a whole different world. It's just a vibe. And if you haven't felt it, you should. So go grab yourself a case of bushies, give them a rip, and take a walk on the wild side. When you're miles from help, second chances don't exist. That's why we shoot Rage broadheads. Massive cutting diameter, field point accuracy, and devastating results when it matters most. Hunt with Rage.
So with that being said, and his first buck like that, you guys remember your first buck? And
Yeah, I was going to ask you the same thing.
Like, since we're on the topic,
Yeah.
I mean, the first buck, I still have him hanging in the barn, my Pennsylvania deer, and I was stump hunting. Like, this is back in when I got the privilege to go to deer camp with Dad and our grandfather. And let's be honest, deer camp in Pennsylvania
Wasn't too serious.
It was not serious. It was a lot of red plaid and a whole lot of drinking. I can tell you that much. Like,
a lot of moonshine.
Looking back on it right now, I'm like, did he have that 450? Like that giant, like
pistol?
That pistol, and were they waving it around in the room? Like, it was like, that means so many things. But those were the fond memories, right? Is seeing all those guys just having a blast.
Yeah.
But I remember now, looking back, obviously they were all hungover, and my dad said, sit on the stump, drop me off in the dark, and he's like, I'll be back. I was 12, so I was in complete panic, and it was with the 308 that I gave to you guys and Gibson and your kids killed with. But I had that little 308, and I was sitting on a stump, and I just was like, I'm just panicking. It's dark, and I'm just like 12, and this is big woods of Pennsylvania. We're hunting up at the mine or whatever that, I can't remember that pine tree farm, the name of it. Remember that? There's like it was in Pennsylvania, but it was a farm that it was like
the Martin farm.
The Martin farm, I think it was called. That's right, it was. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, and to me, the biggest deer in my life I've ever seen. And he ended up scoring like 125. So it was a great deer. But when I first saw him on the hoof at 12 years old, he might as well have been a 200-inch deer.
It was the handsome buck.
It was like the greatest I'd never seen in my life.
And this was 1990.
And there's guys walking around the woods, it's Pennsylvania, and I'd see some orange down there, and then all of a sudden this buck comes running directly at me, and I'm just on the stump shaking like a leaf. Boom, I get him in the sights, I pull the trigger, he runs right by me, keeps on running and keeps on going, and I'm like, I have no idea what just happened. Right? Well, now as dads that you're not far. Like, I didn't realize that my dad was like right over there, because when I shot, he was like, that's him, and boom, here he comes over the hill, right? But in my mind, he was gone. I was like, I don't know where he's at.
You're solo.
I'm
in the
solo
Alleghenies.
hunting in the Allegheny Mountain. I'm like, where in the f am I at here? Like, I'm like literally petrified. So he comes up, we do this thing, we're trying to track, and the 308, man, it zipped right through him. He was on the run, we couldn't find blood. He's like, you missed him, man, you missed him completely. I'm like, I didn't though. Like, I remember I didn't miss him. So he goes away, and about an hour later, this guy comes walking up the hill, and he says, "Was that you that shot?" And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "It was a big 8-point. It was my first deer and all this other stuff." And this guy, he goes, "Come with me, son." And we start walking, and sure enough, he came from down below, and that deer didn't go more than 100 yards, but he fell off the side of the hill.
Yeah.
So we were on the top ridge looking for him, and he died and went down and fell into this ditch. And he found him, and he said, "Come here, come with me." He said, "What's he look like?" So I explained it to him. He said, "Come with me." So we walked down there, and sure enough, there he is. And he says, "Is that your buck?" I said, "That's him." And it's, to me, it was an absolute giant. Well, now I have to find my dad, and I don't want to shoot again. So the guy was super nice, and he walked away, and he said, "Good luck." He said, "You got it?" I said, "Yeah, my dad will be around. Like, it'll be fine. I'll take care of it." And I'm just standing over this deer, like, what do I do? The guy walks away, and so I reach in my pocket and get a whistle. I had a whistle, and I literally put the whistle, and I was like,
a wooden gun,
and
too?
I literally had this whistle, and I kept going, and I'm just blowing this whistle, right? Because I'm like, how do I get a hold of my dad? I don't know where he's at. And I got this buck now. This guy,
texting, nothing.
No texting, no radios.
I am so gonna give you a fucking whistle for drops.
Like I got
here if you need me.
It was an orange. It was an orange plastic whistle, and I remember he gave me a safety whistle. He's like, "If you ever need it, blow this whistle." I said, okay. So I'm just sitting over this deer, just ripping this whistle. I mean, ripping this whistle. Finally, after like 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
He comes over and he goes, "What are you blowing the fucking whistle for?" He's like, "Stop blowing the whistle." I said, "I got the buck down." He's like, "Oh." He's like, "How did you find him?" I said, told him the story.
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, why didn't you shoot or something?" I said, "You just want me to rip one off?"
You gave me the whistle.
That's how you communicate.
That's so Chuck. Oh, you blew the safety whistle? It'll be fine.
Yeah, he blew the safety whistle.
Yeah.
45 minutes. I said, I could have lost a leg over here.
You'd have bled out.
Yeah, I'd have bled out. He's like, he's blowing that damn whistle. I'm like, for help. I needed to blow the whistle for help.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got that deer, and I obviously gutted him, and then that's when he looked at me and he said, "Well, that's why I had you. Drag him out. Get him out." And I'm like, so here I am at 12 years old. I had that safety harness thing on, with the big rope, and I'm just like pulling on him, trying to he's getting caught on everything. It took me 3 hours. He said, "The truck's that way."
Yeah.
And he went back to hunting because he's like, when you get him up to the truck, he's like, "Get up there. Your grandfather will be up there." Because he went like 80 yards and sat on a bucket. So he's up there. He's like, "Go up there and you'll see him that direction." And then he went back hunting over there, and then he came back to the truck. By the time he got to the truck, I had just got there.
Yep.
I mean, it took me 2.5 hours to walk up this PA mountain to get this thing up there. But I got him out, and I still have him on the wall, and he's the one that sits above the archery table. Like, there's the first one. Right? Yeah, it was pretty cool. But I blew the whistle.
All good stories. The orange whistle story.
Oh man, you're gonna get a drop whistle for sure.
Forget it, man.
For sure.
An orange safety whistle.
Yeah,
I blew it until he showed up.
What was your first?
Yeah,
it
was
gun or bow or
bow. I killed my first 12 deer with my bow.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Didn't shoot a buck with my gun till I was in high school, like senior.
Yeah.
But shot like 4 or 5 does, and where I hunted was where my mom grew up and my uncles grew up and my great grandpa. There's a farm right on the Tobacco River.
Cattle?
Dairy farm.
Dairy.
Had some crops, but mostly it was dairy farm. Mm-hmm. And grew up hunting with Shad. You know Woody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we hunted together. And I shot like 4 or 5 does. But we started to get into, just sit with me. Bring a tree stand. And this was before, this was in 92 maybe? 91, 92. This is a long time ago. But we started watching the Dan Fitzgerald videos.
Oh, yeah.
And we started thinking about, man, that'd be cool to hunt with somebody. A cameraman. We didn't have a camera at the time, really. But he said, let's just go sit. We called it the stand by the ravine. So let's go by the ravine. So we sat in the ravine. He didn't even have another stand. He was on the corner of my stand, and his foot was on a limb. And 6-point, first buck, 6-point, walks right to left. I had the old golden eagle.
Yeah.
Ripping.
Did you have a brass pin?
Golden. I had the Cobra single pin was lit.
Yeah.
Oh, so you turn the
light
boom it's like a Christmas bulb. Yeah. It covers the whole vital of the deer.
It's just the deer. It's a body.
It's like I'll settle it on. But it was pretty good light. It was first week in November, and he just getting some sniff
Yeah.
down there working through, and I shot him, and he ran and dove and died in the ravine, and we went and found him. But that was like the moment we looked at each other and like, this is the best thing to shoot a deer with somebody else.
Yeah, with somebody else.
And not just somebody else, a buddy.
Yeah, you looked at him and you celebrated together.
And we were like, that was unbelievable. So literally from that day on, I never hunted without a camera again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
More than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that's what started it all. Was that happened with a buddy, and you celebrated it, and we just thought, why didn't we have a camera with us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't we have a camera with us? That would have been the best footage of all time. See a 50-inch 6-point get shot. but man, I mean, to do that at the place I grew up, the place my uncles and my grandfather and my great grandpa had killed deer for 70 years, to do that on that riverbank where I'd catch smallmouth and shoot ducks, and it just means more, you know. And just like you shot in the Alleghenies with your family, and
they've been hunting there
on your home property.
Yeah, that was 20 years of deer camp at that same place. So at that point, that's all we had to hunt. You know, was those things, the state lands and those farms.
So we were lucky to have private ground. I had a lot of buddies that didn't have any. But we were lucky enough to have, like, Woody's farm is right around 200 acres, and the family farm is about 200. So there's 400 on the Tobacco River right there that, you know, you just have a lot of deer. And it was just a great time to think back. And I remember sitting in class, we'd be in algebra class, and we would draw the property on a notebook paper, and we'd mark where all the stands were. And this is when we were supposed to be studying in class. And Woody and I were going through where we're going to hunt that night. You know, and we didn't even think about the wind back then. There was no wind, was not considered. There's no set lock. We just went. Where are we going to go? And I mean, those were the simplest times. But man, it was like, it was so young. Like, archery hunting was still, I mean, this was early 90s, really. It still hadn't really taken off.
Infancy.
Yeah, it was infancy, and you're still learning stuff. There's no outdoor channel. There's there's VHS tapes. That's it for any other type of inspiration. So, man, it was crazy. It was a great time to, like, be part of it. And I kind of wonder sometimes if that's how Ryder will think of it. Like, if because he knows only what he knows. So it's the golden era, the golden age for him. To some point in 30 years, it'll be, man, I remember it was so simple back then. You know? But
yeah, it's, I don't know. There's just, you know, I've got, so it's funny because I have two first bucks. I'll be quick with this, but I have two first bucks. So the first one, we used to hunt in Virginia every year. We'd go down George Washington National Forest and hunt with this guy. His name was Lance Lyons. And Lance passed away not too long ago.
House was haunted.
House was haunted. That's a story for a different day.
100% haunted.
But he is a great guy. A great guy. Big family property, couple thousand acres there in the mountains. I mean, it was so awesome. We'd drive down there after hockey practice. We'd get in at like 4 a.m., get up at 5 and, you know, sleep for an hour and then go hunt. Well, it was probably like this, I think, second or third year we'd gone down there and I had hunted. And, you know, of course, Chuck is always like, well, you know, you hold out for a good buck, this and that. And Lance is like, buddy, you shoot whatever buck you want to shoot. I was young, 12 years old. And so, one morning this buck comes in and I'm like, oh, I see it's a buck. I'm like, I'm going to hammer this thing. Wham! I shoot this buck and get him. I'm all jacked up. Lance gets there and he's like, well, we're going to use your doe tag on this one. I'm like, what? And he's like, they got to be over 3 inches to qualify as a buck, and this isn't a buck, so we're going to use your doe tag. So I shot. It was a doe buck. A doe buck. Yeah. It was a button buck. It was a yearling. You know, but
he had bone on his head, man.
He ate so well. He's so tender. So tender. So anyway, so that was technically number one, but the number one in Pennsylvania was cool. It was up at Yellow Creek.
Yeah.
Where
Super Sweet or what?
Yeah, Steve and Joe Vernosky, the Super Sweet 10.
Super Sweet 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I shot it. It's a 10 point. I still have them. Full sneak I got.
Yeah.
It's erect, sticking out of the wall.
Back before sneaks happened.
It looks like one of those bar mounts. He's like, bam,
He literally,
like
he's
it's right out
like
there.
this.
Yeah.
But he's a mainframe 5x5, and he's got El Diablo kickers coming off of both bases that are like an inch and a half to 2 inches long.
Yeah.
He'd have been huge once he got 3 or 4 or 5.
If you got 3 or 4.
Once you got 2 or 3 or 4
if you
or
got 2,
5.
3, 4, that deer had the makings of a Boone and Crockett.
It's so big.
Yeah.
But it's funny because there's parallels with Ryder's first solo. So my first solo, I was in a tree stand. I was in a ladder stand, and sitting there all morning. I had a 300 Win Mag that my dad had bought. He took it out and killed a muley with it in Montana. And he's like, use this 300 Win Mag in there. I'm like, okay. Like
Is that big or what's that?
Blow
mean?
my ass
gun.
out of the tree. So I have this gun, and I remember distinctly, like, I hope to God I don't see a buck. I do not want to shoot this gun. Like, it was coming from a
was a
308.
howitzer.
Yeah, to
it was a
that thing,
howitzer.
like, holy.
And that's
he
a
had-
realistic thing that
he
a
had
kid
the-
thinks about too.
It is.
Like,
It absolutely is.
He had the same we both had the 308.
Identical
we
youth
had the
model
identical
308s.
youth
Yep.
model 308s, and that's what we started with.
Yep.
And so for him to go from that 308 up to a 300
yeah.
Win Mag,
I mean,
because there was brush, probably.
The gun with
Brush gun.
Brush gun. That's what
Yeah, use
Pennsylvania
the brush
guys
buster.
use the brush gun.
It was
30-30.
The rifle, like if I set it on the ground, it was like as tall as I was.
Yeah, it was huge.
like a musket.
At that time. And so I literally remember thinking to myself, oh, I hope I don't shoot. So I'm going out. I got a little bit of a late start, a little late going back to the stand.
Sleepy.
So I did what every kid does. You put a diaphragm call in, and you call like a turkey as you walk through the woods.
Oh, okay.
As if they're scratching,
that's-
just
okay.
some clucks
Smart
and purrs.
woodsmanship.
And, right?
Woodsmanship.
So I get back there, I get settled in, I get in the stand, I sit down, and I'm like, all right, cool, here we go. I'm like, ooh, I need some chocolate milk. I got a little Vico in my
So I
bag.
could completely shit right out of the stand.
So I'm like, I'm going to get a little bit of Choco here. So I lean forward, much like Ryder went for the little lunch kit.
Yeah.
I grab the chocolate milk, and I come up, and I crack the lid, and I look up, and that buck is standing at like 25 yards, right in front of me,
Yeah.
looking right at me in the tree. And I have a chocolate milk in my hand, half open. And I'm like, oh, man, how am I going to do this? So I close the lid. I set it down between my legs and kind of like pinch it between my legs. And I reach over, pull the gun up, and the deer stood there looking at me the entire time.
Now, are you in a blind?
No, I'm in a
Ladder,
stand.
In a
ladder
stand,
stand.
okay,
Ladder stand, yeah.
And he's just standing there just staring at me the whole time. Like he had no idea what was going on.
Slow movements.
And I'm just like, well, I get the gun all the way up. I get it on him. And honestly, I think I closed my eyes and pulled the trigger because I did not want to shoot that fucking gun. I was terrified it was going to knock me out of the tree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I pulled the trigger and hammered him, and he took off running. And back then we had the radios.
Yeah, the radios were created.
Radios were
they were
crucial.
good. Yeah, back then.
After the whistle scene.
Yeah, after I blew the whistle for an hour, the radio was so much better.
Roxanne, get the boys some radios for Christmas, for God's sake.
Jesus, I'm tired of them blowing the whistle.
Yeah, so I ended up having radios, and same thing is I just get is that you coming through? And I'm like, that was me. And he's like, would you shoot? And I said, I swear to God, he's a 10 point. And what?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a 10 point. He's like, no way. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, I counted 10. Like, he's a 10 point. Can you see him? And I remember saying, hold on. And I went, and I said, I just spit on him. And he goes, is he dead? I said, he's dead. I'll be right there. Same thing.
Yeah.
Round the ridge, you know what I mean?
You didn't cut him in. That was the front half of the body.
Yeah.
Where'd the other half?
the other half, it just split him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got down and I walked up and there he was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not a 10, it's a 12 because he had the Diablos. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's a 12 point. And I just lost my shit.
Yeah.
So that was my first one.
Points is the only thing that mattered back
Well, back
then.
score wasn't
It's
even
just
a thing.
you counted. You didn't say I
know.
shot a 140. He's like, I shot an 8. You can tell people I shot a 12 point.
Yeah.
They're like, whoa. Wow. They didn't even ask you how big.
Nope.
You just shot
I
a
remember
12
that
point.
when back in the day, it was like, Casey shot a 12 point. I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean a 12? Like, what are you talking about?
I know.
Like, it was like, that doesn't exist.
That's all that mattered. And then you get
There are
these
no
guys
12s around here.
12s.
Then you get these guys on nor'easters. You ever talk to those guys? They're like, how much do you weigh? I'm like, I mean, really? Oh, that's what you give a
How
shit
much did
about?
he weigh?
I got into an argument one time.
How big was his track? I'm like, who cares?
I got into an argument one time with a guy that I was guiding.
Benoits.
And he looked
the
out there and he
Benoits, right?
said that deer's 200. I said that deer's 130. He said, I'm telling you right now, that's 200. I was like, I get paid to do this every single day. That's a 130. And he's like, there's no way. And we argued for 15 minutes in the blind, this guy that came on a hunt. And I sat there and I just said, I said, if that's what you're expecting, you can shoot him. He's 130 though. And he's like, and after 15 minutes, he goes, I'm telling you right now, that deer doesn't break 200 pounds. And I said, pounds? The fuck you mean pounds?
Different measuring.
He's 260 pounds. He's eating pellets, for Christ's sakes. He's 200. Yeah. He's like, he's so big. I'm like, he's 130 inch. I don't care about that. Look how big he is. I said, what?
Yeah.
It was a guy from Maine that came in. But we had a disagreement for 15 minutes until he said pounds.
Misunderstanding.
What do you mean pounds? He's pounds.
Who judges a deer in weight?
That's what Lisa and I do that all the time. And I always I'm like, you're metric. Remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Canadian.
Yeah.
You're metric.
That's funny,
that was my first buck, and all that mattered was the number of points he had.
Absolutely.
Seeing your arrow vanish in the dark is pure adrenaline. Nocturnal makes it clear. Bright, tough, and dead simple to use. Low light or last light. Track your shot all the way through. Shoot Nocturnal. At Keefer Brothers, our mission is to pass on what the wild has taught us. Every single step into the wild tells a story, and we've spent years capturing those moments in the rawest way possible. So if you're not afraid to step outside of your comfort zone and you want to go further and live the kind of life that most people only talk about, be sure to visit KeeferBrothers.com. Whether you're there for the stories, the skills, or the connection, everything lives at KeeferBrothers.com and the all-new companion app.
You know, you go back to what you were talking about, the golden age, and there's so many things that we went through that were like, it's a really good kind of dichotomy between obviously like Ryder's age and Weston's age and your kids. They have like cell cams, right? Where we went through and we had the pictures, right? But even blinds back then, I remember my dad and this guy that we called Uncle Denny, who was not an uncle, but who was
a cousin,
was a character-ish. And he was always the guy at camp that was like, I can't wait to see Denny because he made me laugh at the ages of 10 and 11, 12.
Yeah.
He was the funniest son of a bitch I've ever met in my life, and I couldn't wait to get out of the car and just listen to whatever Denny had to say because he'd make me laugh.
Yeah.
I remember when they got the first climber, it was the Loggy Bayou climber stand, and we went out, and both of them had milk jugs full of beer. Like, and we went out and drove these roads.
Milk jugs
full.
15 minutes later.
And you know what it was?
No carbonation.
It was no carbonation. It was full of Genesee ale because that was what was on tap, that Genesee ale.
Yeah.
They'd fill up their milk jugs, and then we would go, and they're getting ready for the next day. So we go and drive up on the state land in this old truck, and we're like on these back roads. And I remember they got out in there. I'm just walking with them. I'm just there. I'm the 12-year-old in the background. Denny gets this Loggy Bayou, and he puts this thing together, and he starts climbing this tree. And he's like, man, look at this. He's like, I'll be in this climber tomorrow morning. He gets up there, and he gets to the top of this tree, and he says, how do you think I get down? And my dad is standing at the bottom. He goes, pull that pin right there and see what happens. And Denny reaches over there and pulls a pin, and that son of a bitch came down out of that tree 15 feet and hit the ground and bounced in front of me
if it wasn't mud, he'd have broken both legs.
He just snapped his spine. He hit mud, and it literally went to his shins.
Yeah.
He went thunk like a dart and stuck in the ground. And the bottom of the stand came all the way down, but the top of the stand is still up there.
Yeah.
And he says, and so he gets down, and my dad says, you pulled the fucking pin. He said, you told me to pull the pin. Now they're going at it, right? And I'm losing my mind laughing. Like, I'm looking back on this, no hunter safety system, no, care in the world. Nope. And I remember it's like the whole week of deer camp, Denny kept thinking, how am I going to get the top of my stand? They just, it was in that tree.
Shoot the cable
the
out.
entire
Cut the
camp.
tree down.
Yeah.
They were trying to figure out how to get the damn top of that stand down because it was still locked up there in the tree. And they ended up doing ladders and trying to climb up there and put the thing around. And eventually they got it down. But for literally the week of deer camp, that was Denny's whole mission, was like, I got to get my stand. So he didn't hunt in his stand because he was on the ground. But they grabbed their milk jugs and away they went. And that was like all these things that were happening. And I look back now and I'm like, that was the first climber. Then now we're in
the
saddles.
tree stand era.
You know what I mean?
Dude, the tree stand era was fascinating.
Oh, man.
From the loggy bayou to like the tree lounger.
Oh, the tree lounger? That guy?
The selling them with
He hit the airwaves.
chicks that would be laying backwards, bouncing up and down with
He hit the
bikini
airwaves,
shirt
man.
on.
He pummeled the airwaves.
Dude, I remember. So when
He was the banjo minnow of deer
He
stands.
was the tree lounge
so we
guy.
we went to Lock 3 Bait and Tackle in Pittsburgh.
Sure did.
And
Still there.
Oh yeah,
Lock 3.
And my dad bought me a loggy bayou growing up, and it was like this changes the game.
Yeah,
like, this is a whole different. This is crazy. And I can remember being in my front yard. I climbed a tree in the yard, and I would just sit there.
Yeah,
I would just climb the tree and just sit.
You would
because it was like such a.
You're up there.
Yeah, and you're like, this is incredible. Like I'm hanging out in a tree right now.
Well, the tree stand era was wild because I was hunting before tree stands existed.
Yeah, so you're building them.
So we're building them.
Yeah, you're
And
putting
you guys,
them up.
Yep. Casey, you might have been on the
I was
back
like
end of
right
that.
there. I was right there. We did have wooden 2x4 stands. and I
Yeah, so
definitely
we
sat in.
build our stands with 2x4s, just like a fort, basically, and you'd find a tree that'd work in. But then Bob Woodruff, Shad's dad, Woody's dad, he would build out of scrap. He would build stands from work. So he was at Dow, and he in extra metal, he'd bring home, and he'd have these kind of half-ass stands that we'd started to use. And then Lock On started. Lock On
Yeah,
Limbs.
Lock
They
On.
were the first, they were a shitty stand, but they were a stand.
Yeah.
And
Everybody still calls them lock-ons.
Lock-ons.
To this day.
They're lock-ons.
You know?
They're the Kleenex of tree stands.
Yeah.
And we started hunting, and I'm like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. And you'd have like the spikes that the tree steps that you'd screw in, and that's how you get up.
If your wrists could handle it, because by the time you get 3 steps in, you'd be like,
well, you can't do an oak for one.
No, you can't. No way.
Maple's about the hardest wood you could do.
Yep.
But man, it was just like one of those things. It changed the way we hunted. It changed the way we looked at where to go and how you could do it. But I was thinking about this too. Weston's a sophomore right now. When I was a sophomore and Woody was a junior, we would go up to the UP for a week at a time after football season. So when the last football game was over with, that Friday night, we would pack our shit. We'd drive through the night and go up into the middle of the UP. This was where we bear hunt.
Yeah.
But it's a mile off the beaten path, and his dad and 3 other guys built this old cabin. And we'd go up and we'd stay there for a week, and we'd miss like 3 days of school. But we'd hunt, no communication, Weston and his buddy to go up 8 hours into the UP.
Not happening.
An hour. This is like near Crystal Falls. It's a half hour from Crystal Falls, but it's a mile back in state land off a trail. No communication, hunting in trees. It's like, how did my parents
allow that?
But that's just. This is, the same era. When I was 12, my mom would drop me off at the road. It was about a 80-acre field, and she'd drop me off at the road on Glidden Road, and I would walk the edge of the field, the fence row, all the way back to the stand, and I'd hunt. And she'd pick me up at dark. And this was on the family property, the farm. But there was no safety precautions. There was no no tree harnesses, nothing like that. I'd climb a damn.
Don't fall.
Don't fall.
Be careful.
And we climb homemade stands, and it was crazy that we're still walking to this day. And I remember this one time we were up in the UP, and I think I was a junior at the time, and Woody was a senior, and this guy, we call them Russian tree stands because they're I don't know why we call them the Russian tree stands, but they were like under the deck, and we pulled it out. We're like, oh my God, there's a tree stand under here. It's completely homemade. You could see like where all the welding, where all the welds were on it, and it was like, okay, I have a spot. I'm gonna go hang it. So the year before, Bob, Woody's dad, missed a giant. He said it was mossy, 30-point buck, mossy horns, just giant buck down in the swamp, and it's all swamp up there. Swamp and some hardwoods, but you go down in the swamp, you never know what you're going to see.
Yeah, the Fred
and
Bear.
And this is back when the UP was the UP.
Yeah.
And you killed big deer.
Yeah.
Legendary.
And we got lost all the time there. Everything looks the same in those swamps. So I walked like south of camp. It was like 400 yards. I found this tree and I fucking climbed it. It was a cedar because I didn't have any tree steps. I had to be a cedar, so I found it. It was a good spot.
Yeah.
Climbed it, and I put this Russian tree stand in. I'm sitting up on that bastard, and I'm like, it was the strap was like a 65 Impala seatbelt. That went around it, and that's how it went around the tree.
And you just put the seatbelt on.
Bam! And you tightened it. It was like a muscle car seatbelt. Awesome. It was a GM seatbelt.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, I guess, I'm pushing on the thing and kind of holding on and stepping and stepping and stepping. I'm like, it seems solid.
Yeah.
So I get in it and I sit on this little turd of a seat they have. It was like a hollowed out, like a goddamn, like a school bus driver pushes the button to open the school bus door. That was the seat. Went up my asshole, basically. But I'm kind of sitting there getting comfortable, kind of moving around, and I'm just looking around like this. Stand goes, just falls down, and somehow I hit my foot in like I flipped backwards and landed flat on my back. But it was like moss, like you were talking about. It was like I sunk in. It was like sphagnum moss.
Sphagnum. You landed
like
on
I was
a mattress.
like in a bunch of foam. Going, poof. And I laid there like this, like I just fell out of this stand. And I'm kind of moving around, and I look to the right of me, and there's like a stump with a dagger of a stump I just missed that would have impaled my whole chest. So I get up and walk back. I'm done. Like, I'm not hunting tonight. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah,
something's trying to tell me something.
Damn
but
GM seatbelt.
That stand is still at the base of that tree somewhere. I left
awesome.
it.
Yeah,
but
dude, the shit we used to do. I mean, I just think about like the tactics, and like it fascinates me because I used to hunt this apple farm.
There were no tactics, really. I mean, but
it was all being discovered. Everything was like all new, right?
Yeah.
I used to hunt this apple farm. I played hockey with Eric Trax, and his family owns Trax Farms south of Pittsburgh, which is a huge family farm. They've got a big farmers market and everything there. And I used to go there and spend time, and I'd go hunt there. And Bob, we call him Tractor Bob, was Eric's dad. And I'll never forget, like, we were hunting the apple orchard. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be so cool. I'm like, what do we do? He's like, well, see all that stuff over there? I'm like, yeah. He's like, go roll in it. I'm like, what? He's like, well, that's all the apple pumice from the cider mill. Just go roll around in that so you smell like apples.
Let the yellow jackets fly.
I'm like, what the hell? And we did. We would literally go roll around in it so your clothes smelled like apples. Yeah. But that was before cover scent. You know what I mean? It was before cover scent spray. Yeah. You just fucking went and rolled in apples. Like, that kind of shit. I'm like, man, kids aren't going to get that.
I would bring an apple and smear it on the tree.
Rub it around.
I used to do that.
Well, half of like Dad, I remember growing up, and like he had the tubs, back. It was just
in the bags,
and he had cedar and all the stuff, and it was all in like. But half of the thing was filled with sticks, like an actual cedar.
It smelled like dirt and cedar.
I still do it.
Dirt and cedar. I love the smell of that too.
And all that was just put in there, and now there's cover scent. So it's funny, man. I didn't get into bow hunting until we got the farm in Pennsylvania, and I started doing the bow hunting stuff, and then I just had a whole new addiction level. But I had an old Martin cheetah, and I remember hunting and shot, and my dad was over the ridge far, and he radioed at the time and said, "Did you shoot?"
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
I heard track.
Like he heard my bow go off, and he's like, "You shoot?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it was me." Yeah. And I'm like,
were loud back then.
I mean, it was a thunk. It went off, and I mean, it was loud. And that arrow was not going fast. But I shot a doe as my first with a bow, and then I was like, I may not pick up a gun for a long time. Like that did start that addiction of archery.
Yeah,
but, man. I mean, it was just all different, but it didn't exist. To your point, like we didn't have Life 360. Our parents, they didn't have the thing. I mean, everything is evolved in the technology. We were figuring it out at the time, but like now it seems insane to let. You're right, Weston go to UP, and I would be like, no way. But back then, it's like they didn't know any different.
Yeah. Neither did parents, because my parents grew up letting us do that shit. I think because we were very independent growing up, that's just how it was. They saw us in enough situations and trusted us.
Yeah, they're like,
we're the generation that drank out of the hose.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, and we're fine. But it's now it's the kids that are like that are technology driven that have never had
that's our generation just smelled what it's like to drink water out of a hose. When you said
you know what it's like to drink. You go and you're thirsty, you get to drink that water right out of the side of the turn the hose on. I'm thirsty.
Yep.
Now it's like that kind of stuff. I mean, we grew up in the woods all the time.
Yep.
I mean, Casey and I, every time we got home from school, it was like, we're home from school, we're going to build a fort, we're going to do the things, we're going in the backyard. It was just, we're constantly out there. And parents, they just said, be home when the lights go off, or when the street lights, or when I whistle. My dad would whistle, and we'd be like, oh shit, Dad just whistled, let's go. And then we'd have to go back. That was it. They didn't know. No one, but they didn't know any different either, because they grew up in an era where there wasn't that.
Right.
So now that we have it, and I'll be honest with you, there's some crazy some bitches out there now. I mean, that's the other thing you have to look out for. The people back then, man, it was few and far between.
I just wondered, I like what you said makes me think a lot of like, will Ryder see it as the golden age? Like, we had discoveries of like brand new.
Yeah.
But to him, like, a cell cam was brand new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
100%.
It's just different. You know, will they see it the same? That's a really.
I don't think.
Where will it
I don't think
evolve?
they can, because we were in the infancy of really the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
it was all new.
It was all new, and
Yeah.
I mean, just information was new.
Yeah.
You hardly really knew a lot of guys that bow hunted.
Yeah.
And I still remember the first guy in our town that went out of the state of Michigan and came back with he was killing big bucks in Illinois. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And this was like in 96, 97. Like, I just went up, down to Illinois, and I hunted some state land, and he killed like a 145, 150-inch buck. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You just went down there, and it's like,
found
but there
one and
wasn't
did
a
it.
lot of that information. I mean, there was videos back then, but I mean, this was probably been in mid-90s. Yeah. I mean, it just wasn't out there.
wasn't there.
Think about the first time you heard of somebody putting in a food plot.
Yeah.
You're like, you did what? You planted food that brought the deer in, and then you sat over it and killed one, huh?
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, that's,
I know farmers do that, but
I
like,
didn't know you could do that for deer.
Yeah, it's just
it'll be
crazy.
interesting where it evolves. Like, again, now we're at cell cameras and we were at photo. Like, where does it evolve that does make it the golden era for the kids that are hunting today? That they go, I remember when it was just cell cams.
What comes out that's brand new,
that's what
never
I mean.
been done before.
Yeah, I mean, now with AI and technology, like eventually they're going to look back and say, man, you used to just get the thing on your phone. I mean, where does it go?
I think for me,
eventually you just put the bow in the blind.
Yeah.
Sit in your living room.
You just get teleported to whatever.
Just be like, I shot one tonight, but you were at the bar. It's like, no, I was just watching I shot one. It's like, where's it going to go? For me, when is enough?
I think it's reached that point, in all honesty. I mean, I love technology and it's crazy, but I think regression in that area is progression. I think removing some of those technologies that make things easier, or hunting without truly any cameras on the property could be a cool thing to do. Just stripping it down, stripping it back.
That's Ryder had that experience because he put a camera out, but the battery died. He grabbed the wrong battery when he put it in it. But we had that buck that we had actually the buck he killed and the other two deer that showed up. We had them on camera back in August.
Yeah.
But we haven't had him on camera since. And so he was just back there like
just freewheeling.
Whatever shows up. And that is such a cool, I like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, not knowing is part of the fun.
That was the fun, because you didn't know what was going to come in front of you. And I think that's in a lot of ways why public land hunting has had a resurgence. I shouldn't say resurgence.
It's a renaissance.
It's more, I'm not going to, glorified's not the right word, but there's more of a spotlight on public land hunting.
Popular,
because you hunt a lot of land. you don't know what's there. You just go into a spot, you're finding a spot. You know, a lot of these saddle guys, they go, that's what they do, put it on their back, they find a spot, they get up in there, and whatever they see, they see.
Yeah.
There's an excitement to that, and I can see how there's a lot of allure to hunting that way.
Well, we get it undropped.
Yeah.
100%.
You wake up every day. I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
I don't know
You don't know
what's
what you're
gonna
going to see. You don't know what's going on. Like, there's an element of the unknown that is just
There is.
addictive.
And that's what, I mean, we don't use outfitters, man. And that's, and that good and bad, we have no intel.
Yeah.
We go in there. If the moose happened to not be there that year, which has happened, we don't kill a moose.
Yeah.
You know, and though that's just the way we have to accept things.
Well, even when I'm sitting in a tree stand, I mean, there is an element of like, when you see a deer, I'm like, first thing I think of is like, I hope it's a new one.
Yeah.
Really? Because then you look at it and you're like, oh, and we have a name for him, right?
Yep.
And you're like, oh, that's him or that's this. But like, you really, honestly, when I first pull up the binos, I'm like, I hope it's a new one.
Yeah.
Because I already know 80%.
I already know these.
I already know 80%. Maybe you're looking for one of those.
Yeah.
And so the idea is like, God, I hope he's a new one. And then you pull it up, no, it's him.
Yeah.
And then immediately you're like, I'm not going to shoot him. Right. So then you lose that kind of like, just let him do his thing.
Yeah,
right?
you lose the excitement.
You lose that like, and you're like, there he goes. You already know he's there. You have that intel. So there is that renaissance of it where you're just like, I wish that you were just sitting there and back in the day, and he ran right at me, and I shot him because I was like, I've never seen that deer before, you know.
Yep.
So
yeah.
It's kind of crazy how it all comes back.
AB
around.
and I we called it the mystery hunt in Kansas a number of years ago, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
We went in, we had no cameras in there. We didn't have shit in there.
Yeah.
We're just like, but there's a stand there. Let's just go sit in it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And we killed, honest to God, I was still pulling the camera up the tree.
Was that Milk Farm?
Yeah, and I was still pulling the camera up. Mm-hmm. And he's like, here comes a buck. And we're like, oh my gosh. Like I had to
That's
physically.
after you shot sundown, right?
Yeah, I physically had to get the camera up into the tree, hit record, and then he sent the arrow. Mm-hmm. And it's so cool because after it happened, we looked at each other and we were like, who is that? We both went, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And there was like such an excitement level around like, we don't know what that is. We got to go look at him.
Yeah.
You know, so it was,
It's something,
man. It was cool. It really was.
I love it.
Trail cameras make us more efficient, you know.
Yeah.
That's the part where I think it helps, especially now with, you know, the kids and the family. Like
it makes it a story all year. And that's I think part of it, you know, is it gives you something to talk about. It's been such a great thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying none of us are. I just think there is an element of that surprise that you just don't get anymore.
Yep.
And I miss that.
Yep. And I don't know that our kids will ever feel that.
No, I don't.
Because Ryder's never, you know, except like in this case, he knew the deer existed, but he didn't have intel to hunt them. So we'll see.
Yep.
But anyway, I want to have him on because you guys got to hear him tell the story.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm going to take some of the video, especially the part where he freezes up and looks at the other buck. I'll put that stuff out on my social.
He'll never forget that hunt.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I mean, not just because it was his first buck, because two other bigger bucks
came in.
It's
we
like,
need to upload that to the app too. Just like put it up there as like because it's a natural reaction.
Yeah.
So
we'll put it up there. It'll
it's
be
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, we got the season kicked off, and there's a rage in a cage, and we're ready to go. And next couple of weeks, we've got it busy, and then man, we're getting ready, and then it's just the swing, and then we're hitting it.
Some in-state hunting. We're going to do some Michigan hunting.
Yep.
Waterfowl, whitetail.
Yep. I'll be hunting out at the ranch here in the next coming weeks, and then you guys will all be hunting here in Michigan, then Ohio, Missouri, all the places, and Deadwood is coming back, and we'll be down there soon. That's going to be exciting. I can't wait to get down there and have that whole scenario. So it's going to be great. Yep. But congratulations, man. It's cool. I'm glad he shot it, and it's awesome. It's an experience.
Good job, Dad.
It's a wild ride. Proud dad. Proud dad.
Yeah.
Mama say it's a new day song.